You stole money from a sick person? Come on, that's like one of the cardinal rules, right? You don't take candy from a baby. You don't scam or steal from sick people. What? Happy Apple Picking Day! Of course, our weekly reminders before we get started. If you want a chance for your story to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send it to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And just a quick reminder, we all come from different branches of the apple tree. And what that means is that we all grew up with different lives and different experiences. And those different experiences are going to shape our perspectives and opinions. So we never want to yell or chastise someone for just not experiencing something and not gaining or learning the information that's come with it. Instead, we talk and we communicate and we share and we converse and we teach each other things, and we also keep an open mind because we know that we don't know everything. We practice good communication here. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for choosing a football game over my brother's wedding? My brother, 27 male, married his now wife, 27 female, last year in October. I, 18 male, was asked to be the master of ceremony at his wedding, which would walk the mothers down the aisle and introduce the bride and groom and all their parties at the reception, give speeches, all the things. I accepted, but I also told him that he would have to work around my schedule as a football player. Before the wedding, I had to quit playing football due to mental health issues, but I remained really active on the team. I acted in like a management type role, helping set up for games, packing equipment, getting everything ready. Unfortunately, my brother had scheduled his wedding for senior night. Even though I wasn't a player, I would still be recognized as an honorary team member. I was gonna ask to leave early from the game so I could make it to the wedding, but something happened and I changed my mind. My brother chose out-of-state college and took a student loan. Unfortunately, that's left him in big student loan debt. My father co-signed on the loan and has had to pay most of it. My brother, even though he's been out of college for 5 years, continues to ignore the payments. My dad's forced to pay them because we could lose our house if he doesn't. Again, he's co-signed on this loan. My brother's also stolen other money from me, my father, and my mother. Once he stole $500 from our family. When my mom passed in 2021, my brother got even worse. He started to avoid us completely and, of course, was still slacking on his payments, but whenever he needed to borrow one of the cars because his broke down or needed some extra money, then he would call us. My dad even had to consider getting a second job on the weekends just to make these payments. Before the wedding, I calmly told my brother, "You need to talk to our father about the loan and start making payments on your own because he can't keep making them. If you continue to ignore us in these payments, I'm not going to be the master of ceremony at your wedding. Family comes first, and you need to take accountability." Well, he continued to ignore us, and my dad had to pay $800 from his own account because my brother hadn't paid the loan in months. So after this occurred, I respectfully told my brother that I would not fulfill this role at his ceremony. Senior night happened, and I arrived at my brother's wedding as a guest. Not the master of ceremony, my dad ended up filling that role. My family and some of his friends didn't understand my decision, but I stand by it. My father doesn't deserve to have to look at the possibility of being homeless because my 27-year-old brother can't be an adult and pay back his loans. But I need to know, was I the bad apple? Okay, so that's not where I thought it was going to go. When they said I picked a football game over my brother's wedding, I genuinely thought it was just juggling the two options. The context makes it a completely different story. It does. It's not because of the football, it's because of the context. Okay, I get it. I feel like some people are not going to like my answer, and that is okay. You don't have to. We don't have to agree. We can have different kinds of boundaries and different kinds of opinions on these things. I'm probably going to go crab apple. Yeah, I'm going to go crab apple, and I'm going to also go the caveat that I wouldn't do the same thing. I would do something completely different if I was in the situation. So do I think that this kid, this 18-year-old football player, this high schooler, has bad intentions? No. I think this high schooler is genuinely trying to stand up for his father, stand up for his family, like try to make his dad's life a little easier. I get that. I commend that. I think that's great. At the same time, this isn't your battle. And even though it's very commendable that you want to step in for your dad, I don't personally agree that like doing so with a wedding is the right way to go about it. If you told me that it's just because it's senior night, what was I can't speak right now, was what was important to you, that would be a different story. We would be having a completely different conversation. But for you to say, I wanted to pick my senior night because I felt like I was standing up for my dad, I just personally believe that that's not your battle. Like, you don't know what kind of conversations your dad and your brother have had about this. You don't know what arrangement or agreement they have. Like, yes, I can see that you see the stress that this is taking on your dad, but I just feel like this was not your space to butt in personally. And other people might have different opinions than me, and that is okay, you can. But based on my experience and my family dynamic, I try not to get in the middle of when my brother and my parents have a spat, and they do the exact same thing. Like, if they try to bring up something that with me that annoyed them, then he will say, I'm not gossiping about Rebecca. Like he literally did that last week. Because of me and my family dynamics, I'm going crabapple because like I just feel like, you know, to me weddings are important. To me, they're very sentimental. And for someone to ask, hey, I want you to have a role in my wedding, like, to me, that's a big deal. That's an honor. So if you're going to say, no, I don't want that, that's your choice, which is why I'm not giving them bad apple. I'm not, because I think that, you know, if that's not your priority and you don't want to have the relationship with this person, okay, you don't have to. That's your call. But I don't like the using the wedding stuff as a lesson to be taught. I'm not saying at all that you shouldn't like tell your brother to grow up. I'm saying that the way this was handled, I just don't agree with it. To insert yourself to the point that you did, that's not something that I'm a fan of. To impact his wedding to make a point on someone else's behalf, like, I just don't love that, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want it to get it twisted that you shouldn't stand up for your parents if your siblings are like financially abusing them possibly. If it's bad enough to where you have to get in the middle, like I'm saying that like me and my brother, we don't do that, but we also don't have like crazy scenarios like this. We're both pretty responsible people. If it does get to the point where you feel like you have to insert yourself, I just don't like how this went about. You know what I mean? So apparently the big storm knocked out my power and corrupted the file that the rest of the recording was on. And my seat got taken. So I don't know. I guess we're just gonna wing it. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for refusing to help my friends? For about 11 years now, I, 37 male, have been pretty close with my friend John, 38 male. John and his partner, we'll call her Jane, 36 female, have been together for about 8 years now and engaged for a little under 2. They both have a child from previous relationships, so when they take trips with their kids, I've been happy to visit their home and check on things, take care of the animals, all the things while they're gone. I've helped with other projects and tasks over the years, most recently picking up Jane from the airport. All to say that I feel like I've been very present and helpful on top of our base friendship. Now, about 5 weeks ago, I found out from a mutual friend that their wedding's coming up and invites went out a while ago. Everyone in our circle is invited except for me. As a gay guy, I've experienced being iced out from some of my straight friends' lives, but this one has definitely been something that's had me thinking about my time and energy with people. I decided I would take it as a hint to distance myself. Well, 3 days ago, John texts me asking if I'm around early to mid-August, which I know is when he's getting married. I say I am, and John asks me if I wouldn't mind visiting like I have before to look after the property and the animals for what I know is gonna be his honeymoon. I said, sorry, I can't. So he calls to talk to me about it. We run through the same conversation, polite but a bit tense, so I finally say, I'm just not going to be visiting your home. After a moment of silence, I bring up that I'm disappointed that I appeared the only person in our group not invited to his wedding, and that I can't be helping like I have before if I'm just a background friend at this point. I wrap up the call positively and sincerely with me wishing him well on his wedding and his trip, and that maybe if he wants to talk and fix our relationship, we can grab some drinks soon. Well, Jane reaches out the next day sending follow-up texts, saying John's upset about what I said, and is now upset with her because she made the final calls about friend invites and that I'm just taking this the wrong way. That there's only so much capacity and that the others in our friend group have partners that also took up space. She adds that she hopes I'll change my mind and help them out because it would definitely put John's mind at ease. I understand that I'm not entitled to the company of others or invitations to their events, but am I wrong for setting my own boundaries in response to theirs? I try not to frame my friendships as transactional, but they obviously want something out of me here despite not inviting me and then avoiding even bringing it up with me until they needed someone to help cover their honeymoon. So, am I the bad apple? No. You had every right to be upset that, first of all, you're the only one in the friend group not invited, and that stings. And you know what? I've seen a lot of situations, both as a teacher and in these stories as a content creator, of people not realizing that their friendship is one-sided and coming to the conclusion and coming to the realization that, oh my gosh, this person doesn't really care about me or isn't really my friend and blah, 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 and because I'm not invited to their wedding or I'm not included in these special things. And that's hard. That stinks. And I think it's very valid and reasonable to feel a certain type of way about that, you know? It really, really bothers me that, not only are you the only person not included in their wedding, but then for them to go and ask a favor of you? What? No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. If they feel comfortable and safe enough with you that you are allowed in their home when they're not around, they trust you with their animal's safety, right? I would not let just anyone watch these little nuggets. These things are my entire life, right? When I go out of town, I want to make sure they're taken care of. I want to make sure they're safe. I want to make sure that my house is going to get locked up after. I can't imagine asking anyone to be responsible for my animals that I wouldn't hold dear enough in my heart to come to my wedding. That's really weird to me. And what also really bothered me is for Jane to be like, oh, well, can you just change your mind? It would really make John feel better. Ma'am, someone who cares about you has just come to realize they're not important enough to you to come to their wedding. And your main concern that you're vocalizing to them is, oh, well, John's really stressed about this. What about the person whose feelings you hurt? I totally understand you're getting ready for your wedding, you're going to a honeymoon, you want to make sure the animals are taken care of. I get that because I also get really stressed and anxious about making sure that they're okay as well. But you just hurt someone's feelings. Someone who cares about you and always goes out of their way to pick you up from the airport and take care of your home and take care of your animals, and you're I don't like their dismissing of that issue. You know what I mean? I don't like it. And honestly, I 1000% agree. If they have deemed you're not important enough to come to the wedding, if you feel like they're not the kinds of people that you want to take time out of their day to make sure that their home and animals are fine, okay, they can ask someone that they deem close enough to them to be at their wedding to take care of the animals and to take care of the home. That makes sense to me. It feels entitled. And I know that there's some points that I'm missing that I made before and I just can't think of them and remember them, but maybe you guys will bring them up in the comment section. I'm going good, Apple. I would never ever shame someone for deciding to cut someone out of their life, period. If you decide this person is not fulfilling your life and adding positivity and adding things that you want into your life, that's fine. That's your choice. I will double never shame someone for cutting out a one-sided friendship. If you're oh, this person only wants from me, they don't want to include me, but they want me to give them things. They don't want to include me, but they just want me to do things for them. I'm never gonna tell someone, no, don't do that. No. Absolutely, I would feel just as upset. I have felt just as upset when I realized that I was in one-sided friendships. It's not fun. So, No. Now, are there people out there who I think would like do it for the animals? For sure, but I'm not going to fault you for not. Well, I'm 100% going good, Apple. Like, having boundaries for people who don't respect you, having boundaries in general is important, but having boundaries for people who don't respect you and don't value you, so important. So important. So I'm for that. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for missing my friend's wedding? I, 35 female, was invited to my good friend's wedding that happened last Saturday. I was supposed to be one of the groomsmen, dressed in a suit and all. His fiance at the time told me that I had to bring a dress with me to change into because I couldn't stay in male clothing for photos of the reception. I told her I'm a groomsman and proud of it, and I thought it was pretty unreasonable to carry around a whole other outfit and shoes. I was also comfortable in the suit, and so was the groom. He said that I could stay in it. Well, then the bride said that I would look like I was in a gay couple with my boyfriend if I stayed in the suit, and that it would ruin the style and atmosphere of the wedding. I was shocked she would say that, and I told her I would be proud to be perceived as a gay man, and if it didn't bother my boyfriend, then why would it bother her? I asked what the problem would be even if I was in a same-sex couple, and she said that it would be a lie in my case. I asked my friend, the groom, what he thought, and he said he didn't care either way, so I told her I wasn't gonna change. She then told me that I couldn't come, and I said, okay, so I didn't go to the wedding. My boyfriend thinks I did the right thing, but some of our mutuals say that I'm the bad apple here. And my friend, the groom, is upset with me, but not super angry. I mean, I gave him a really good wedding present that he's dreamt about for a long time, and he mellowed out by calling me his friendly neighborhood hothead. But I don't know, should I have just changed into a dress? Like, did I overreact? Was I the bad apple? I'm gonna tell you what bothers me the most about this story. You're talking about what you want to wear in someone else's wedding photos. Like, you're not just a guest, you're in the wedding party, and you're trying to dictate how someone else's wedding photos look. And you're trying to make it an issue about like her being a homophobe. No. Do I think her comment was unnecessary? Yeah. Do I necessarily think that she's a homophobe? No. Do I think that's the big issue in this story? No. I think this is a bride who is like coming up with whatever excuse and reason she can to get you out of the suit because she doesn't want you to mess up her photos. These are her wedding photos. She's not gonna get to take more of these. And you are trying to dictate what someone else's bridal party photos are going to look like because like you wanna be one with the guys. Like, this to me is major pick-me energy. Like, you're telling me that this is one of your best friends. You have got to be one of his best friends if you are standing in his wedding. And you're like trying to make the wife the bad guy because she doesn't want you in a suit. Like, I've seen women be groomswomen before. I have actually been asked, like recently, to be a groomswoman in a friend's wedding next year. And I'm planning on wearing a dress. Not that you have to, not that anyone has to, but if the bride is saying, hey, you usually wear dresses, you just don't want to be carrying around 2 outfits, okay, just wear the dress. And you're like, no, I don't want to do that. Are you kidding me? If this was a story about a bridesmaid saying, I want to wear a different dress, I don't want to wear the dress you picked out, I want to wear a dress that I want to wear, everyone would be saying like, no. But Josh says he doesn't care what I wear. Who cares? Who cares? You're there for the couple and the bride, who usually does way more of the planning and the deciding what color people are wearing, does more of the color schemes. Like, let's be honest, the bride usually cares way more about the photos than the groom does. Like, and the thing is, she didn't even say, hey, you have to wear this in the ceremony. She said, for the photos, I want you in the dress. And to try and make the bride look like the crazy person because she wants you in something specific for the bridal party photos, what is wrong with you? And like even more so, first of all, in the little edit of the like update, should I have just gone and not changed? No, because it's not your wedding. It's not about you, and it's not about you being in one of the suits with the guys. Like, this isn't about you. But like for you to just decide to not go to your friend's wedding that you were in, oh, well, the bride told me not to come. Yeah, because she's gonna say, your choice is to make my photos look good or don't come. And you decided it was more worth it to stick it to your friend's new wife than to just wear the stupid dress for their wedding. And like, I've been in a lot of weddings, okay? I've been in a lot of weddings in the last 10 years. I've never been to a wedding where there's not a place for the bridal party stuff. So no, don't act like you're gonna be carrying the dress around all night. There would be a place for you to keep your things, just like everyone else has gotta have a place to keep their things, right? Like, this to me is so pick-me energy of, the bride really wanted me to wear something specific, but the groom said I didn't have to, so I'm just gonna piss her off and not go to my friend's wedding. What? It's honestly a red flag to me that he picked you to be in his wedding, you didn't show up, and he's like, yeah, it's fine, I don't care. That's weird to me. That is so weird to me. And maybe it's because like I take weddings very seriously, but I would be so mad. I would be so mad. Bad apple, man. Bad apple. Am I the bad apple for taking money from a man with cancer? My ex-husband, 56 male, and I, 52 female, got divorced because of his infidelity. He married his affair partner, and she was a hired lady friend, 20 years younger than me. As part of our prenuptial agreements, we agreed that I would receive alimony for being a stay-at-home mom, and I was a stay-at-home mom for our entire marriage. We had 3 daughters. He never had a problem with paying alimony after our divorce, and we had to be friendly and maintain a good co-parenting relationship. My daughters were very hurt in the beginning, but learned to forgive my husband and his wife. I mean, they even make TikToks with her all the time now. Well, my husband ended up getting cancer, and because he became a big spender and had recently started his own business, the bills have been very hard on him. He and his wife asked if I could waive my alimony payments at least for a little while so that he can pay for his cancer treatments. I see no reason why they can't downgrade their quality of life. They live in a multi-million-dollar house, and his wife is decked out in designer clothes and has a full face of procedures. I told them no, and they've been pressing me to waive my alimony payments. They've even made my daughters bring it up. He's called me cold-hearted and said that he's been good to me and would have helped me out if I was going through a hard time. I should also mention that he's in early stages of thyroid cancer. It's very treatable, okay? He's not gonna... So, am I the bad apple? I think there will be different people that have different answers for this, for sure. Because I know that a family member getting sick can be very triggering for some people. I know that divorce can be really triggering for some people. I just think that different people are gonna have different answers. But for me, it's really interesting because I'm trying to think of like what I would do in this situation, and I really don't know. I don't think I'm going to go bad apple. I think I'm going to go good apple. Not that I would do the same thing. And not saying it would be healthy to do anything different because like I'm a doormat. I know that. I'm well aware. And again, the only information is the information that the ex-wife is giving us. So if they are living above their means and if the new wife is 20 years younger, meaning like she's in her 30s, if they are hurting for funds, to me, it makes more sense that like, wouldn't the new wife just go to work until they were a little bit more on their feet? Because like to me, an alimony payment is another bill. Like you can't just call the water people and just be like, hey, I know that I have a water bill, but I'm going through a rough time. Can you just not bill me right now? Like that's not how that works, right? Like they'll shut the water off or they'll shut the electricity off. Like you can't just not pay that bill. And like this is a legal fee, alimony. This is a legal fee that you have to pay, a legal payment signed by a judge that you have to pay. And so it should be taken just as seriously as like your electricity bill or your gas bill. Like pay it. And like, okay, they asked. The least they can do is ask, right? and the wife said no. And they keep, like, I don't like that they got the daughters involved personally. I've seen friends with kids go through divorces, and the moment a parent tries to pit the kids against the other like that, like in the middle of their who gets what business, like that, I don't like it. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. So again, would I do the same thing? No, but I don't understand why can the new wife not just go get a new job? Why, if they're really struggling, there are other options. Like, you can't just decide to not pay a bill that a judge says you have to pay. It doesn't really work that way. At first when I read this, like, I thought in my head, like, is she being spiteful? Because, like, I did hear a little bitterness talking about, well, this was her job, and this is how much younger she is than me. But in reality, like, even if she is still bitter about the divorce, which, like, that's her prerogative, like, she had her entire life turned upside down. I'm not saying that she has no right to do that, I'm just saying that I noticed it. Even if she is still a little bitter about what happened, she's still a stay-at-home mom. Like, if she doesn't accept those alimony payments, she's not going to be able to pay her bills. Like, that's how she cares for their children. That's how she keeps her lights on. So, like, if the court says you have to pay this fee and that also impacts the livelihood of her and your daughters at her house, then, like, no, I don't think it's crazy for her to say, no, you can't just not pay me this money. This is how I eat. Like, you can't do that. It makes so much, and I know there's gonna be some people out there who are like, oh, well, why can't the ex-wife go get a job? Well, why can't the new wife go get a job? The ex-wife has a revenue source that a judge said, hey, this is your revenue source, and if the family is not able to keep up with all these bills that they have, typically what happens when people have, like, more bills than they have means, someone goes and gets a job. So why doesn't the new wife go do that to pay for her husband's medical bills? That makes sense to me. So I'm going good apple, for sure. All right, I got a bad apple, a crab apple, and 2 good apples. At least I think that's what I got for the first story. I can't remember. Everything got deleted, and now I had to wait literally 2 days because the power's been going out for 2 days. I had to wait 2 days to re-record this because I couldn't do it in the dark. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I got. Did you get anything similar to me? Did you get anything different than me? I would love to hear down in the comments. And as always, if you want a chance for your stories to be featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can send them to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. And for your well wishes today. So today is National Gorgeous Grandma Day. So if you are a gorgeous grandma, happy National Gorgeous Grandma Day. I hope you have the best day. You deserve it. And if you're not a grandma, that is okay. We have options. It is National Lemon Day. It is National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. We got options, okay? Either go get you some delicious, wonderful vanilla ice cream. I think they also have dairy-free ice cream that is vanilla flavored if you are lactose intolerant. Don't worry, friends, we're inclusive here. And if you're not an ice cream person or you just don't like the dairy-free options and you can't have it, that is also okay. Go find you something lemony, whether it's lemon squares are so good, or lemon candy, lemon anything. We got options. Let me know down in the comments which one you would prefer. I would definitely go with some vanilla ice cream. That sounds wonderful. Ooh, homemade vanilla bluebell ice cream. That's the stuff. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope to see y'all next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.